I'm Michael Harvey, the Information and Privacy Commissioner for British Columbia. I want to share with you our latest report, a look at whether the Vancouver Coastal Health Authority met its duty to assist applicants across the 3-year period of April 1st, 2020 to March 31st, 2023. This period covers an extraordinary time for all people and organizations in British Columbia, with the COVID-19 pandemic impacting all areas of our lives. It is no surprise that Vancouver Coastal Health, one of the province's largest health authorities, faced among the greatest pressures and focused its efforts on operational pandemic response and providing core health services. However, we found that VCH's responsiveness to freedom of information requests suffered during this time, a time of crisis when transparency and accountability were key to keeping people's trust. A period of crisis places public bodies under operational pressure. Precisely for this reason, they are under considerable public scrutiny. People are facing individual and collective threats, and they need to know and be able to verify that public bodies are doing everything they can to protect health and safety. Here in British Columbia, the core of our health service, that which is provided by our health authorities, is a public system. Perhaps the most important reason why is so that we can keep public bodies accountable. Trust in our democracy is built on transparency and accountability, which was vital during the pandemic. People were afraid, and justifiably so. COVID-19 was a real, new threat, and people were required to comply with extraordinary measures and limitations. Trust will always be essential in our health system. People access these services often when they are at their most vulnerable. But we cannot ask the people of British Columbia to trust their health system, or indeed any public service, as a matter of faith. For this reason, Vancouver Coastal Health's core business as a public health authority is not just the provision of health services, but rather the transparent and accountable provision of health services. Deprioritizing freedom of information is harmful to its core business, just as it would be for any public body. As part of our audit, we found VCH often struggled with processing and responding to FOI requests within the spirit and the letter of the law. For example, we found undue delays across the board. Only a quarter of requests met the law's 30-day benchmark, with VCH failing to comply with the time limits in nearly 3/4 of responses. Media applicants in particular face excessive delays, with the number of days it took to respond to FOI requests peaking at 171 days in 2021-22. We also found that VCH improperly applied time extensions, sometimes extending the time limit without a valid reason, or applying an extension after the original time limit to respond had already passed. And we came across examples of inadequate communication with applicants. Roughly a third of the time, VCH did not even acknowledge a request was received. To address these concerns and others raised in the report, I've put forward 8 recommendations to VCH that cover the need for improved staff training on their legal obligations, expanded and more accessible proactive disclosure, better tracking of management of FOI requests, and further internal evaluation to correct lags responding to requests within legislated time limits. Fortunately, this audit does not tell just a single story of an organization's FOI deficiencies under pressure. It also tells the story of a health authority that has recognized and is acting on the need for change. We saw that by the 3rd year of the study period, VCH improved its FIPA compliance. And the average number of days that VCH took to respond to a request decreased by half between 2021-22 and 2022-23. VCH also expanded payment options for application fees after initially only offering payment by check or money order. And we saw that VCH's executive have recognized the importance of information management and FOI responses by bringing in a new FOI tracking system and planning for a new document management system. New processes have been put in place for escalation of FOI matters to executive when necessary. I believe this shows VCH has recognized the need for a cultural change that required leadership from the top. So I hope that you can take away two stories from this audit. The first is a story of how, in the face of an unprecedented crisis, a public body might be tempted to retreat from transparency and accountability. But the second is how VCH presents an example of an organization that has learned that becoming less transparent is harmful to its core business, both in the immediate term and in the long run, and decided to drive cultural change throughout the organization. I encourage you to read the full report by visiting our website at oipc.bc.ca.